Two of us want to just make a commitment to eat like mostly plant-based and not to put any kind of huge restriction and pressure on ourselves. Me mainly because I don't like saying never again. We're not going completely plant-based. As you all might know, my husband has been vegetarian for how many years?
Jesus, since I was 17, so that's nearly 13 years.
Oh my god! I was vegetarian in the past, and after that I said vegan at the time, but I was just eating a plant-based diet, really thinking hard on the dairy industry. I don't have the same feelings personally about the idea of eating animals as I do with the dairy production, because, and this is all like quite a recent change in my feelings, and people change obviously, and their understanding of things grows and shifts throughout life, but we are the only species on the planet who artificially inseminates another species and separates them from their young so that we can take their milk and have them hooked up to machines all day and have them constantly pregnant. Like it's and I was like, wow, what's paleo? And it's basically involves eating meat and things like that, but he's very much also into ethical omnivorism. Yeah.
Ethical omnivorism.
For me, it started off as a health and weight thing. I watched some PETA videos of animals getting hurt in factory farms, and I was disgusted and upset, so I cut out dairy as well. I've just been extremely happy since I've been eating the food that I want to eat. I just feel better.
I love that song, Rather Be. Who's a boy? I don't know. Type in Rather Be, and it's like an Asian girl, and it's brilliant. How old are you? 24. Zodiac sign. Leo. Wow. What do you look for in a partner?
Animals. I feel like everything on this earth, it's like a circle. Everything feeds off everything else, and everything feeds into everything else.
Very up-to-date research. He explained to me how pretty much like every population and tribe in the world has not sustained itself on a vegetarian or vegan diet, and our brains are the size as they are because we always eat animal products. And no, we do not have to eat animal products anymore. It's very...
Anyone else find this hard to follow?
Milk is an amazing thing, and I have a newfound appreciation for milk because I make milk for my son. So it's just this whole thing, and I'm not trying at all to make anyone feel guilty or for you to change your habits. I'm just sharing.
Yo, what up? Life is not fair, people. And as you get older, you figure out what the inequalities are and just how arbitrary and irrational they are. I think it takes some people many, many years to get used to the fact that human beauty is distributed unequally, seemingly at random, but arbitrarily, and not everyone gets a shake at the stick. It's very common, of course, to meet children who are upset about that, who are uncomfortable with that, teenagers, and then at different ages and different stages of life, people finally get comfortable with the fact that, look, not everyone is pretty enough to be a model, not everyone is pretty enough to be an anchorman who reads the news. And at some stage and at some age, we also have to get used to the profound and radical inequalities in intelligence, in the immaterial and intangible aspects of life. It's as if, once you get to the stage in life where you're finally comfortable with the physical inequalities we all got to live with, are you yet comfortable with the type of immaterial mental inequalities that we've all got to live with? This girl, Melanie Murphy from Ireland, I don't resent the fact that she's managed to build a career on YouTube out of a somewhat vacant stare and no apparent talent and a real deficit of intelligence, so far as I can measure such a thing. I haven't heard an intelligent word out of her mouth, and I've heard a lot of stupid things out of her mouth so far. I'm not going to say the world is a terrible place because someone like her can get a certain measure of fame out of, I don't know, just filming herself putting on her makeup. What does she do? She answers completely inane Q&A sessions from her viewers. I mean, what? There's no substance to it. But does that make the world a worse place or a better place? I don't know. In some ways, can't we say the world is a wonderful place that someone like her can earn a living by doing nothing? I don't know. Is it wonderful or is it terrible? It's banal. It's meaningless. It's a resoundingly hollow aspect of our culture in the 21st century. And, you know, you get to watch people like her swim up to their limits in the deep end of the pool and get scared and then swim back again.
Our diet, up until quite recently, has been heavy on cream, which we were having in coffees every day. I was having it with strawberries. I was putting it in my porridge. And butter. I would have butter on toast most days. And we both love our cheese.
When the day comes that we finally have our own house, if we have the room, we really want to get it. We really want to get a few chickens and just have them there because it's brilliant. You know, you get to see where your eggs are coming from, and they're really happy, and yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
Melanie Murphy ain't got what it takes, and we've all learned that, and now we've all heard her pathetic and incoherent excuses and so on and so forth.
Because I felt like my social life has always revolved around food. I love cooking. I love sourcing ingredients. I love eating out with my friends and family. And I found it very difficult to enjoy my life to the fullest extent when I was limiting myself. I struggled with it, and I can admit that. I found it very difficult. And I used to salivate over meat. Raw steak used to disgust me, and when I was not eating any meat, I would see it and I would dribble. Then I met a friend of mine called Paul Keeley, and he has a degree in nutrition and stuff like that, and he had undergone this massive transformation. Like, he looked like the healthiest guy I've ever seen in my life. He looked amazing, and I was like, what are you doing? And he was eating mostly paleo with a couple of days a week where he'd have whatever he wants. And I was like, wow, you know, what's paleo? And it's basically involves eating meat and things like that.
I just feel better.
And to quote an old song by the Wu-Tang Clan, by ODB, this ain't something new that just came out of nowhere. No. This is something old and dirty. This is a miserable, ancient part of human nature you're going to see again and again and again.
But anyway, yeah, I had watched those videos, but this video showed up on my recommended section called What I Ate Plant-Based Edition, Food Diary Friday. I had clicked on this because it said plant-based edition in the title. I was like, oh, maybe she's trying out a plant-based diet again. So I just thought that I would show you this clip because I literally started laughing when she said this because of how fucking idiotic it was.
I've told you guys about this before. I kind of tend to eat plant-based maybe 3-4 days every week. Don't you worry, I am still an ethical omnivore, and I'm very happy to be. But
Should throw up? Ladies go for veal.
ethical omnivore, ethical omnivore. Ethical omnivore. Ethical omnivore. Ethical omnivore.
Ammoniac.
Ethical omnivore. Ethical omnivore. Ethical omnivore. Ethical omnivore.
Yes.
Ethical omnivore. Ethical omnivore.
And as long as we're doing this, as long as we're taking complete idiots and putting them up on a pedestal, whether they're actors or athletes or what have you, we're going to see and hear this again and again. I couldn't make a list, partly because I'm not into celebrity culture. I could not make a list of how many, famous models and actresses have already done this, where they're vegan for a while and they talk about the ethics while they are vegan, as if the ethics mattered. And then the minute some excuse, some reason pops into their head, they stop being vegan, and suddenly the ethics don't matter at all. Did they ever? This is really a portrait of the self-selected obscurity that the masses of humanity labor in. I mean, God. It's this is really, if you pay attention, it's hard to force yourself to pay attention to what this girl has to say. But if you really pay attention, if you made a flowchart, this is like a cross-section of the mediocre mind and how it works. Oh, when I eat meat, I feel better. Oh, how is my social life? Oh, making food is part of my social life. Well, being vegan interferes with my social life, so I feel better when I eat meat. Oh, I met this one guy who was really handsome, and he eats a paleo diet, and he told me that eating meat is good. I do not want to hazard a guess as to what percentage of the human race think and act and live this way. These people roll around the billiard table, like balls. If you happen to be the person who's an influence on them this week or this month, if you happen to be the person they're impressed by, maybe they'll become vegan. I don't know for how long, a few weeks, a few months, whatever. And then it happens again, like billiard balls clacking around. Some other influence comes into their life. In this case, she met someone who was a paleo expert. That's apparently what happened with Bill Clinton. America's number one bimbo, Bill Clinton.
You are still vegan, yes?
Yeah, except I want to make full disclosure. Once a week, on the advice of my doctor, I try to eat some fish.
Bill Clinton, he met a vegan doctor. That vegan doctor influenced him for a while. He met a paleo doctor. That paleo doctor influenced him for a while. I don't know what's next. Some people told me Bill's gone back to being vegan. Who knows? But at some point, you're at a level of shallowness so terrifying that these people are just barely responsible for their own actions and their decisions in life. So look, I'm of two minds about this. I don't think veganism should be for an intellectual elite. I don't. I think veganism should be for everybody. Same with non-smoking. I think non-smoking is for everybody. I think complete idiots should avoid becoming addicted to tobacco. I think geniuses should avoid becoming addicted. We should all do it. But the peculiar challenges that exist in 2016, challenges that require intelligence and self-discipline, challenges of struggling in a world of misinformation, information's hard to get. Right now, there are barriers to entry for veganism that tend to prevent the stupidest and the weakest among us from becoming vegan. And there are real difficulties in remaining vegan, which is what Melanie Murphy illustrates for us. It's not elitism on my part, but when you meet the people who have what it takes to be vegan, it's worthwhile to pause and think. Even if you dislike them personally, you may dislike me personally, that's fine. But when you look at me or any other example you happen to meet or see online, you should recognize, oh, this is a person, even if I think they're dumb, even if I think they're wrong, even if I think they're bad, they don't listen to the same music I listen to, they don't like the same things I like. If that person has the intelligence and self-discipline to become vegan and to stay vegan, they're not all bad. Maybe there's something good about them. Maybe there's something you can learn from them. And when you look at the ex-vegans, when you look at the people that drop out, you've got to appreciate the opposite. You've got to stop and think. There's something missing. And it's worth understanding exactly what that is.
Dun, 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 dun.